Hey there. Today we're going to take bracelet number 94653 and we're going to try to put our own spin on it. And I'm going to demonstrate just how we do that, and we are going to, take a little artistic liberty, shall we say. So let's get at it. Roll that intro. Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL, and today we are working on this pattern from friendshipbracelets.net. It's number 94653. So when I saw this pattern, I thought, wow, that looks pretty cool. But then this little diamond over here, like, I really am just interested in this one area. Like, to me, that is what is really the fun part of this. And I think that by just taking out the extra diamond, I think we're going to end up with something pretty cool. I don't know if that makes it be a pattern that's already in existence or not, but we are going to go ahead and try putting this together, see what we can come up with. So I'm going to copy this and bring it over here. This is, I was measuring out like how many of these we can actually fit into this. So let me Control V. So we'll go ahead and we'll get this other image set up. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Can I actually move it? No. And we're going to make it bigger. And then use the move tool, bring it over here, and anchor the layer. So if I've done my math right, and I think I have, we are going to be able to fit 4 of these things onto a bracelet this size, right? Because what I did was I counted the number of knots between this black square. Can you see that? Yeah, this black square here and this black square here. Actually, you know what? Let's really highlight that. So, from there to there. So that's the area that we're targeting, and we're going to start from the very center here. Now again, I don't use black ever because that's a problem for changing colors later on. So for the black, we'll just make that gray. We're going to try to use a lot of the colors that are actually in this bracelet. So I don't want to just grab any old, well, I guess I could do a dark blue. Do I have a dark blue? I do, right there. Alright, so how does this go? This goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, and then in 1, and then 2, 3, then in 1, 2, 3, in and out. That appears to be right. In and out. 2. Let's grab this inner color, make sure we're getting this right. Okay, so there's the little square there. This with the little thing here. 3, 3. In 1, out 1. In 1, out 1. 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's what goes on in this part. The blue comes and goes to there. Now, because we're going to essentially do the same shape again and again, what I can do, I showed you this tool before where you can highlight any color, right? If I can copy all of these and then paste it, all of that outer blue can now shift. And look at that, it's going to line up exactly with the beginning of the bracelet. So, I don't know why that looks a little sloppy, but there we have it. So, all we have to do now is fill in the rest of this, and we can copy and paste the whole top half. So, this inner color, grab the paint tool, is this pink. Whoops. Is this pink. This color on the outside is a sort of a light blue. Oh, because this is coming in a bit closer, we're not going to get as much as of the other blue in between it. However, this is still going to, in my mind, I think, going to look like beads that are joined together. And we're going to end up with a string that doesn't get used. So the only reason there was, I'll go over here. The only reason there were two sets of this hot pink is because it was needed to have the 3 in a row right here. That was it. Other than that, it's a color that's not used at all. So if we eliminate this diamond, we eliminate the need for that extra pink. So we can take a look at what's getting used the most, which I guess is this black color in the design, and put in an extra black so that way it can be exchanged as needed. Grab this other blue, put it in here. So this is kind of easy, filling it in. Obviously, the bigger part of this is going to be the putting in all of the underlying strings. So basically all we've done is we just essentially copied what the pattern will do, and we're trusting in the fact that the pattern will in fact work, but we actually need to make it work. So let's do that. Start with the dark color, nice and easy. It turns, goes. And it's just a case of you can see where the next knot is, so you can see what it has to do in order to be where it needs to be. Like this has to turn to the right in order to be available for that next knot. So this is not anything super difficult. We're just tracing it down as it goes. And it does essentially the same thing again. And there's going to be some in here where we get to make our own choices. Mind you, this is not going to start out, you know how I typically talk about like having that nice clean start thing? This one doesn't have that, but that's okay because I think what we're going to get out of this is a sense where it's going to look like there are 4 beads in a very big overall bracelet. I think that's kind of a neat look. So, what's next? Well, this one is obvious. This has to be right here in order to show up for where that is. So, and again, it's a case of following the path where the knots are. If for whatever reason it kind of disappeared for a little bit, then we would hold off and maybe fill in something else. But these really just stay right up at the surface, and it makes it really clear that they need to be a thing. And you can see that this had to bounce in for 2 reasons. One, this light color is going to come this direction, and we needed this purpley color for in here. So, out of the potential for 6 colors, or 6 strands going into the loop, we're already done with 2. There. That's all of those. So now the next color is this bright pink. And look at that. By following the fact that there's nothing in here and it has to come from somewhere, it just sorts itself right out. Beautiful. You couldn't ask for that to be any easier. And again, we're kind of following the knots down. And see, now it's going to go under for a little ways. We have to figure out how does it get to the next part. Well, if you look, a bunch of these are already sorted out for us. It has to turn because the blue turned, it has to turn because that red turned, and it's going to have to turn because this blue turns. And look at that, it ends up right back where it needs to be. So yeah, the harder part of the whole design, honestly, was done by whoever made the original pattern. They sorted out that the colors were going to be capable of doing this. I just happen to have the drawing here in front of me, knowing that it's going to work makes it a whole lot easier. So yeah. So this color here, this one's going to be a little bit trickier, but I don't think it's going to be that difficult. This light color can come in here and then come out, because the way this one changed, I think that makes the most sense for that. Yep. Alright, now we can follow the knots again. So this pattern definitely uses a lot of the zigzag knots, the left rights and the right lefts. That's how it's able to make these really close zigzag things. If we go this way, it's easier. So here's a multiple choice. You can see that both of these get to the same end. If we I think I'm going to take these out and do it the other way. I think this way makes more sense, to be honest. But it's either or, it's a dealer's choice. I just think that making everything zigzag makes a bracelet a little bit more sloppy. And if we can avoid some of it, we should. Just not like moral principle or anything, just that it works. Alright, so now it comes to this blue here. So we know that these connect like this. Alright, that's basically all we know. So let's trace what's available. See, there's no way of bringing it inside here, really. Well, this could have. Actually, let's do that. We can do it. This is going to be interesting. So there's an inner path. Look at that, that's kind of cool. And by putting this inside of here, we're going to make, when it comes time to doing some of the changes of direction, we're going to make it a whole lot easier to recognize where the change is by having the different color involved. I'm kind of not super hyped about how close these two colors are. I think we're going to try to, before we save this image, see if we can't do a little something to make one of the colors a little bit different. Because there's nothing worse than having a good pattern that's difficult to read. So those are all the visible knots there are. So now we actually have, this one here that is left out. So here, let me first, so this color is changeable. Let's make it much darker. We're going to paint the fill the whole selection. There we go. So it's not black, but it's essentially And we'll go back to fill similar colors. So here we go. So now we can actually tell the colors apart from each other. And I think for all intents and purposes, we'll just go with this dark color again to fill in the last bits, because it is the color that gets used the most, and this particular string wasn't really doing anything anyways. So there you have it. And the cool part too is, in cases like this where you have the two strings the same color, when they come together, you get to choose which knot. Like right here, this knot that we just did, it doesn't matter if you do a right, a left, you know, choose to use the string that's getting shorter. It'll make it just that much easier. Or if you see that, you know, going to the one side is going to use more, do that. There we go. There's all our strings. So all we have to do now is snap that right on the line. We have the whole top. Control C, Control V. Get the flip tool and slide this down. We get it to snap onto the line, and we just have to scooch it over just a skosh. And then we anchor the layer. And there we have the whole bracelet. And see what I mean about it? Looks like it's 4 beads. It fits perfectly in this pattern, so we know that it's going to be a great size for the bracelet. Mind you, I did do my homework a little bit in advance for that. It wasn't just an accident like some of the other ones. But when I found out that that would work, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the original pattern, that diamond just really didn't do anything for me. If I was going to do it myself, I might have gone, oops, Control Z, and made this inner part like that, you know, because there was no need. I don't know what this was about. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what the artist was thinking of, but I would have maybe have done something more along these lines, you know. But that's the whole thing. That's what I wanted to teach you, is you get to make the call. You get to pick out the parts you like, and then you get to turn it into the bracelet of your design, and use some inspiration to turn it into something that you know, that you're gonna like. And maybe somebody's gonna take your version and they'll build on it in a different way, and that's what this is all about. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Like, subscribe, leave comments, share this with your friends, and as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.